Hello everyone, I am Lipok, Department of MLT. In this video, we will be discussing the introduction to hematology. Now, what is hematology? Hematology is the branch of medicine that is concerned with the study of the cause, the prognosis, the treatment, and the prevention of diseases that are related to blood. And it involves treating diseases that affect the production of blood and its components such as blood cells, hemoglobin, blood proteins, bone marrow, platelets, blood vessels, the spleen, and the mechanism of coagulation. So such diseases might include hemophilia, thrombus formation, that is blood clots, and other bleeding disorders, and also blood cancers such as leukemia, multiple myeloma, and lymphoma. Now in this video, we will discuss about the formation of blood, how hemopoiesis takes place in our body. So, the process of development and maturation of blood cells is called hemopoiesis. And the processes that regulate hemopoiesis in the early stages of formation of red cells is called erythropoiesis. Granulocytes and monocytes is called myelopoiesis, and platelets is called thrombopoiesis. So during fetal development, the formation of blood cells, hemopoiesis, it commences in the wall of the yolk sac. And after the second month of the fetal development, the formation of blood cells commences. After the second month of fetal development, hemopoiesis, it takes place in the liver, and slightly later in the spleen, and gradually becomes dominant site of hemopoiesis. Now, from the 6th month and the dominating of the 7th month onwards, the formation of blood cells occurs in the bone marrow, which is the major site of formation of blood cells in normal adult humans. So, cells responsible to do function of hemopoiesis are first seen in the yolk sac of embryo, as discussed earlier. That happens in the 3rd week of the embryonic development, and these cells are called hematopoietic stem cells, HSCS. So what are stem cells? Stem cells are special human cells that are able to develop into many different cell types. So let's see the sites of hemopoiesis, from the sites where blood cells are produced or developed. So in fetus, in 0 to 2 months, it happens, hemopoiesis occurs in the yolk sac, and in the 2nd to the 7th month, it occurs in the liver and the spleen, and 5 to 9 months in the bone marrow. In infants, mostly it takes place in bone marrow, almost in all the bones. And in adults, as you can see in the picture here it is a skeleton, or is a normal anatomy of an adult bone. So the red patches here that are pointing out here are the sites of hemopoiesis. So in adults, it takes place in vertebrae, the ribs, the sternum, the skull, sacrum, and pelvis, and the proximal ends of the femur, and as well as tibia. So these are the areas where hemopoiesis takes place. Now, hematopoietic stem cells. The stem cells, hematopoietic stem cells resides in the medulla of the bone and have unique ability to give rise to all different major blood cells and types and tissues. And the basis of hemopoiesis is a small population of self-replicating stem cells, which ultimately can generate all types of blood cells. And the progeny may develop into either lymphocytic stem cells or pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells. or we call it as a colony forming unit, stem cells. And later it gives rise to stem cells which can form the major groups of blood cells other than the lymphocytes. So depending on the progeny, it is possible to differentiate. So the stem cells, after a series of division, they differentiate into two progenitors. The first one is the lymphoid immune, that is the immune stem cells, and the non-lymphoid or the myeloid, that is the tri-lineage stem cells. So for megakaryocytes, it is a colony forming unit, and for erythroid it is a burst forming unit, so the short form is BFU. And for the granulocytes and the macrophages, it is the colony forming units. So the lymphoid stem cells, it develops into T, B and NK cells, and non-lymphoid and the myeloid stem cells differentiate into three types of cell lineages: the granulocyte, monocyte progenitors that produces neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, and the monocytes, and erythroid progenitors that produce red cells, and megakaryocytes that produces the platelets. So here is a schematic diagram of hemopoiesis. First, we have the pluripotent stem cells, from where we have the myeloid lineage and the lymphoid lineage. So from the myeloid lineage, we have granulocyte, monocyte progenitors, from where we can get neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, eosinophils, and monocytes. And from the erythroid precursors, we have red cells, and from megakaryocyte progenitors, we have platelets. And from the lymphoid stem cells, we have the lymphocytes. So the differentiation and maturation is regulated by endogenous glycoproteins called as the growth factors, or the cytokines and hormones. So we have few named here, called erythropoietin, granulocyte colony stimulating factor, granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factors, and thrombopoietin. So I hope you have understood. In the next videos, we will be discussing with the rest of the topics. Thank you.